Paul Catalina here with me. And Brett, thank you very much. It's been a few weeks. You had to go to a lot of media days. Of course, not have to, but that's part of the deal. And we're just around the corner from the start of the season.
Brett, just reading some chat room comments about people asking, like, how can you rank this team over this team given last year? We are now in a poll era that is insanely more difficult to predict out. So these things will be less relevant now than they really ever have been, right?
Well, I guess it's your definition of relevant. I mean, I would say this, I think it's probably the last 10 years, minimum of the last 10 years, the Associated Press preseason poll, which will come out next Monday at noon Eastern time, so 11 o'clock your time, historically, at least 1/3 of the 25 teams, so we're looking at anywhere from 7 to 9 teams, every year that are ranked in the preseason do not finish the year ranked in the top 25. So you can say, well, we've got transfers and it's going to be even more upside down than ever. But look, we haven't had transfer portals the last 10 years, yet we can't get it right. I voted in it every year. We can't get it right. It's impossible. Also, look at the top 10 that comes out next week. There will be at least one team every year for the last, I think, 15 years, one top 10 team ranked in the preseason that will finish the year unranked. So as much as we think we know about college football and have a good read on who's going to end up being good, we don't. And that's the realization of it. I admit to it. I've joked with you guys before. Let's pick the Big 12. Let's put names in a hat when we've all got a good shot at coming up with the top three, as much as you do analyzing the schedules, the rankings, the yards per play, and all that stuff.
Brett McMurphy with us on 3.com. You posted your AP Top 25 poll. That comes out overall next Monday. You have Georgia at the top with Penn State number 2. Your thoughts about the Bulldogs? They're really, really, really good, but they, of course, the standard they set, like Alabama for the longest of time, and Ohio State, they weren't there last year, although close.
Yeah, Smokey, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but actually not one person has disagreed with my preseason AP Top 25 poll. It's gone back about 2,000 years. Still not one person has disagreed with my poll, and that's how long I've been doing it. Look, there's 7 teams that legitimately you guys could say that team should be number 1, and I would not have any problem with that. And that's basically my top 7: Georgia, Penn State, Texas, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and even Notre Dame. At this point, you're trying to find flaws in teams and trying to justify why one team's above the other. Why I went with Georgia is it's weird. The past 4 years, more wins, more conference title appearances, more national championships than any other program. Yet the vibe that I've gotten, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, it's almost like there's doubt about Georgia. Can they continue it? Gunnar Stockton, what can he do? He didn't, he came in late in the year, looked okay one game, next game, kind of didn't look that great. Well, Georgia had not one of the worst, but the worst wide receiver groups in the country, most drop passes in the free world. So what happens? They had some great transfers. Branch from USC, I think, will be one of the most dynamic players around. And also, I think something that's kind of been overlooked, and you addressed this a little bit earlier, talking about the portal. Georgia has, since Kirby Smart's been at Georgia, I think every year except this first year, they have had a top 3 national recruiting class. They keep stockpiling talent. Obviously, there's a lot of movement now. But I think with all that talent and the fact that, there's kind of that chip on their shoulder cliche, I think people are kind of overlooking them. I think without doubt they will be in the playoffs. Can they win it all? Who knows? We'll have to find out. It all comes down to breaks. But that's kind of why I have Georgia there. I would have put Penn State there, but I can't put Penn State at number 1 until James Franklin wins a second big game. And he's 1-15 against top 5 teams at Penn State. if he can get that second win against a top 5 team, then maybe I would put the Nittany Lions at number 1, because you look at what they return. They are loaded. Drew Allard, the best running back duo in the country. Oh, by the way, they added arguably the best defensive coordinator in the land, and Jim Knowles, getting him from Ohio State. Speaking of the Buckeyes, Penn State's 1-10 under Franklin against Ohio State. So, yeah, they can lose to Ohio State and still win the national title, but that's why I've got Georgia slightly above Penn State and the other schools I listed.
You listed Ohio State down at 6th, which I
know, which is when I did that, I'm going, I am down at 6, but I don't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I'm like, they should be higher, but I slaughtered them.
But again, but you don't we've never seen Julian Sayin play. They lost 2 stud running backs. They lost a ton of guys on defense, not to mention the guy who built that defense is now at Penn State, and Matt Patricia takes his place. So these are all factors we have no idea how will affect the team at all. So to put them at number 2, I thought was maybe just a little bit of just a little too high on the coach's part. Not that they're still not going to be one of the 10 to 12 best teams in the country, but they may not, they may not defend it with as much vigor as people may have in the past with an Ohio State team like that, because there's so many factors we don't know about.
Well, the coaches have BYU in the top 25. I don't think they saw the memo that Jake Retzloff is no longer there. But look, Ohio State, they have, I think, the best offensive player in the country in Jeremiah Smith and the best defensive player in safety Caleb Downs. But I do think they are going to be dinged a little bit. This isn't a huge drop off, but by Ohio State standards, I guess it is, from the defending champs to number 6 in my initial ranking. Chip Kelly was unbelievable last year, and they literally changed their game plan after the loss in Michigan and said, you know what, we've gone slow all year. Chip admitted this. We've gone slow all year because the number of plays we're going to have to run, the number of games we're going to have to play, we don't want to wear our players down. So basically they sandbagged as much as they could until they got through the regular season. We saw a different team in the postseason. Chip is gone. Jim Knowles is gone. And you're right. You've got a new quarterback in there. How will he perform? And again, you can lose to Michigan and still win the national title, but can they solve the mystery of Michigan? They haven't been able to do that. This year's game will be played, for those that celebrate this anniversary, 1 day short of the 6-year anniversary when Ohio State last beat Michigan. What does Ohio State want more, a national title or to beat Michigan? The answer is both. I don't know if that'll happen. But, yeah, that's why I feel weird putting Ohio State all the way down there. But I put Clemson maybe higher than people. They're loaded. Cade Klubnik, I think, is set for a big year. Alabama, people that I value their opinions a great, great deal, that are much smarter than I am. And their power rating, actually have Alabama is their number 1 power rated team going into the season. But again, you mentioned quarterbacks with Ohio State. We don't know what Alabama's going to do at quarterback. They got a three-person race there. So yeah, there's a lot of warts with everybody and near the top. There's not the so-called perfect team. I'm expecting Texas to get the number 1 slot in the AP poll. A lot of hype around them. But I don't think Texas is going to be able to live up. Specifically, Arch Manning won't be able to live up to the expectations. I don't think that's fair, the expectations that are going to be put on him in Longhorns. But anything short of a Heisman Trophy, anything short of a national title, will basically be a Texas-sized disappointment for the Longhorns.
Yeah, and it's not like Art just saying, "Hey, look at me, look at me." That's the opposite of what he is. But yeah, the expectation.
It's not him at all. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not fair, Smokey. And whatever he does, people are not going to talk about the 3 touchdown passes he had. They're going to talk about, well, what about that interception?
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you're the Heisman favorite. It's unfortunate, and we'll see what happens. But look, hey, they go in and win in Columbus. And you think the hype's big now. Wait till that happens.
Yeah. I remember some of the good things he did when he did play. And then I also remember when he played against that Georgia defense that was destroying Quinn Ewers, they pretty much tied him up in knots too, And so, but I love what he represents and wish him the best of luck. Which, in your opinion, I use the word logo. Which logo in the top 25 do you think gets the biggest bump that they have not earned? Is it Oklahoma, although they had a hell of an offseason? Is it Michigan? Is it Tennessee? Or is it Ole Miss or USC?
I think it's Oklahoma. Venables, two of his 3 years at Oklahoma have been losing seasons. The only time that an Oklahoma coach has had 3 losing seasons and not been fired, I know you guys remember this well. It was 100 years ago. So Venables knows what's at stake. He's taking over the defensive play calling. They bring in Washington State's offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle, and obviously John Mateer, their quarterback. Again, if we're picking out warts, what did Oklahoma do last year? They did beat Alabama, but other than that, they're a 500 team.
Yep.
They end up 6-7, and the schedule's tough. Half a dozen top 25 teams. I think they may be overrated a little bit of all those teams. I think they're probably getting a little bit more, promotion for who they are based on being OU. But I don't have the coaches poll in front of me. I think they were not in the coaches poll. So
no, they're not.
Maybe maybe the coaches are smarter than I am in this particular case.
Quick note for me, and Brett, it's great to have you on, my man. It always is. When you fill out your poll, and we know what we think about you and what you represent and all the work and due diligence that you do. Do you get down to about 20 or 22, 23 and go, oh, damn, I need to put a group of 5 team in there? You did not. I wonder if others that have a vote get to about 22 and go, man, I got to put somebody in there because it's a group of 5, like a Boise State or whoever it might be.
That's a really great point. And I think a lot of people do that. And I think when you look at some people's poll, look, they're all public. When they come out Monday, you can find them. They're all accessible. They're all public.
Mm-hmm.
I put mine out every week. I'm not trying to hide it. But I think some people do kind of almost like a mercy 25 vote to kind of take care of somebody like that. And human nature, I guess, probably some people do it. I didn't do it because I don't think Boise State or Tulane or Memphis it's not an anti-Boise. It's just I don't think, especially now with the way the portal is and the challenges for the Group 5, Group of 6, being able to field competitive rosters compared with power conference teams, I just don't think they're that. I don't think they're a top 25 team. The power ratings show that. But I do think people will kind of do. There's a mercy vote and put a non-power team in that 25 spot. I did not do that. If they win some games early and look like they're a top 25 team, I'll certainly climb them up there right away. But at least from the outset, I don't have them.
2 weeks away from the first week, the games, K-State, Iowa State, and then, of course, the first full weekend, some really good ones off the top.
Brad, have you convinced On3 to send you to Ireland?
No, I'm trying to. I got bigger priorities. Trying to convince them to let me cover the Hawaii Bowl. So, I'm working on that one. But hey, I'm glad I was all prepared to get the onslaught of why didn't you rank Baylor? I listed 15 teams after my top 25 that could have been in basically from 18 on down, and Baylor's in that group. It's just when you were saying about when you get to a certain point, do you think about who you rank at 25? To be very candid, once you get at about number 10, you literally have 24 to 3 dozen teams that you could fill out the rest of your top 25 with. And certainly the good news for Baylor is with that opening schedule, in the month of September, we will know right away if Baylor is a contender or pretender. There will be no doubts about it. So I give them a lot of credit, and
Thank you, my man. Baylor, hey, if they beat SMU and Auburn to go 2-0, then they'll be in the top 25. They can take care of themselves. But the Big 12, Brett has K-State as the highest ranked, Arizona State, and Texas Tech inside of his top 25. Brett, thank you very much. Have a great week.